With your host, Andrew Romanella.
When you play Battle in Mario Kart and you don't turn off any of the items, there are bananas everywhere. I mean, it's like you're losing your balloons because you're slipping on bananas left and right. Bananas everywhere.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome into another edition of The Rome Show here on 12OZsports.com. Broadcasting live on YouTube, X, and Roku TV. I am Andrew Romanella. We're home. We are back on our home soil and no longer on location, and we are fired up about it. Thank you for joining us today, Monday, January 13th, 2025. So much to talk about here on The Rome Show on this Monday. So I hope that we can set your week up appropriately while you listen to us, you watch us, you get ready for work, you're on your ride to work, you're making your kids breakfast, or you're just getting out of bed. We appreciate you joining The Rome Show. If you want to get in on the action, we tell you every time, go to youtube.com/12OZ Sports. You can comment right on the show. X.com/12OZ Sports. You can comment right on the show. Social media handles, The Rome Show 1, Instagram, Facebook, X, TikTok, the whole 9. That's The Rome Show, then the number 1, then the mothership. Simple. It's on the banner behind me, and I say it every time. It's the number 12OZ Sports, the number 12OZ Sports. Social media handles galore. All of the football feels for the people today. As you know, we have Rocky come into the studio virtually on Tuesdays, and that's when we get our opportunity to explore the ice hockey realm. But there was too much football over the weekend to talk basketball or talk hockey. So we will reserve the opportunity to do that over the next 4 days this weekend. But today's show, we are going to observe and discuss all the football that we saw over the weekend, starting with the Ohio State versus Texas battle on Saturday. Maybe that was Friday night. Excuse me. Sorry. So much. It just like over the last 3 days, plus we have another one tonight. It just runs together. Texas versus Ohio State. And then we had 5 games over the weekend, 2 on Saturday, 3 on Sunday in the National Football League. And I was intrigued by some of them, and I'll give you that thought in a second. Plus, obviously, like I just stated, we got Monday Night Football, playoff edition. And then we got top 5 plays. That's right. We have top 5 plays of the weekend. That is not just football, however, because when I was doing the research, all right, and I'm looking at all the different things. The Celtics are on a 12-game winning streak or whatever it is. And, you're going to check out the hockey, and the Ducks won in overtime. And as I'm going through all the good stuff that happened in those both those sports, you start to see the different highlights and stuff. And for me, it takes a lot for a basketball play to be a top play. I don't want to go on this tangent. I don't know if people agree with me or not, but like a generalized dunk or a big three, though fun and exciting, not necessarily always top play worthy for me. But that does not mean I don't exclude basketball. Like Cooper Flagg's 42 for Duke the other day. It was seriously on the list. I mean, we put Brock Bowers on for his record-setting day. But personally, when I think about the top, 5 plays, I usually revert to the most important games of the weekend and then go from there. Sans the sport. Doesn't matter the sport. But Cutter Gauthier of the Anaheim Ducks scored a goal that I thought was filthy. So we put him on the top 5. So that's a little bit of a sneak peek. You gotta stay with us, though, till about 7:23 or so, and you'll get the top 5 plays of the weekend. Right now, you're going to get my Monday morning quarterback breakdown here on the Rome Show. All right, I'll throw the music on and let's cook. All right, I'll throw the playoff bracket up on the screen for everybody just so they have an idea of what we are looking at. So obviously the Texans on Saturday, they defeated the Chargers 32-12. So now they will move on to face the number 1 seeded Kansas City Chiefs in Kansas City. Okay. The Baltimore Ravens, they defeated the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers, they ended their season on a 5-game losing streak. A lot of questions in Pittsburgh, who have not won a postseason game since 2017. So a long drought there for a storied franchise, and a storied franchise that has a lot of winning associated to their name. So questions coming in Pittsburgh, starting with the quarterback position, because I do not believe, despite what I've seen online, that Mike Tomlin in any way, shape, or form deserves to be let go from the Pittsburgh Steelers. Do I believe some things need to change in Pittsburgh? Yes, you don't go 8+ years without a playoff victory, though you're over 500, and say, wow, this is exactly what we're looking for our franchise. The Ravens, since they are the 3 seed and the 2 seed Bills defeated the Denver Broncos 31-7 to kick off Sunday, the Ravens will travel to Buffalo to take on the Buffalo Bills. All right, so that's your 2 in the AFC. And then in the NFC, we'll start here. The Philadelphia Eagles, they defeated the Green Bay Packers 22-10 yesterday. And the Eagles now will await, because the Eagles are the 2 seed, they will await the winner of Minnesota versus Los Angeles tonight. And then last night, late night football, Sunday night football, the Commanders, whoa, I just combined almost all 3 of their names. The Commanders, on a walk-off doink field goal, defeated the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at home. The field goal went off the uprights. I had the video for the people. On the commercial break, I'll grab it. You know, I do a lot of different type of figuring out how to get videos on this radio show that allow the radio show to stay running and don't get cut from YouTube. So sometimes that means I got to do some editing. And I was unfortunately unable to finish the editing on that one because, anyways, no tangents there. Nonetheless, the Commanders now go to Detroit to take on the Detroit Lions. That is what your playoff picture looks like right now after what went on over the weekend. Now, I'm not just going to stop you there, obviously. All right. Unfortunately, not all of these games were good. And I think that's what you're going to get when it comes to a wild card weekend. Okay. You know, the idea of the wild card is to be able to really get more teams into the postseason. Okay. Over the history of time, the wild card being something that ends up being a Super Bowl winner, though has happened and is cool and fun, is not necessarily the path. Okay. But at the end of the day, all right, there is always the chance of an upset. Now, this year, we got none so far. We'll see what happens tomorrow in the Rams versus Minnesota game. Now, Minnesota's favored in that game. So to call it an upset by way of Vegas is technically incorrect. But to call it an upset by way of seeding in the postseason would be correct. If you have 1, 2, 3, and 4 in the NFC and the AFC make it to the next round, then in theory, 0 upsets existed, which is why there has been some stories circulating about an adjustment to the National Football League postseason seeding based on winning percentage and record, sans if you win your division. So if you're the Buccaneers and you win your division at 10-7, you wouldn't necessarily have hosted the Washington Commanders last night at 12-5. Just because you won your division. The Commanders, in theory, would have hosted that football game. So I guess then, did I just lie to myself out loud with the upsets thing? I did, because the Commanders were the 5 seed. So, yeah, okay, so it's not 1, 2, 3, 4. Either way, not the point. The point being, the NFL is in discussions with adjusting this format so that that doesn't necessarily happen. You know, when I said this about the college football playoff, when you have higher seeds or lower seeds, an 8 seed over a 5 seed favored by 6 points, right? You say to yourself, well, it kind of makes no sense because if you're seeded as the 5 seed, you should, without a doubt, always be the team that is favored over the 8 seed. If you are by nature ranked higher than another team, you are then better than them, therefore should be favored in the contest. So I think it would be interesting for the NFL to think about adjusting it that way. And I don't know if that changes, how that changes it. I'm sure some people will start doing some analytics on, well, if this game was here and that game was here, these things wouldn't happen. All right, cool. Love it. But I think it's something to look at. Some storylines from over the weekend. We'll go game by game here. Justin Herbert was not good for the Los Angeles Chargers. He had 4 interceptions, 2 of them to one defender for the Houston Texans. One of them was returned for a touchdown. 2 of them obviously went off of receivers' hands. I'll give 1.5 of those not Justin Herbert's fault. Why I only give 0.5 because one throw was kind of high. It still went through the receiver's hands. The touchdown went through Drizzly's mitts. I mean, directly through his mitts, and then went the other way for a touchdown. Just a really bad day for the Los Angeles Chargers, which is wild because if you tuned into this football game 25 minutes into it, it was 6-0. Okay. And I'm going to show this for you. All right.
7 yards of offense. Oh, the ball is
the volume. Freeze right here. It's 6-0. And look at the screen right now. That's a snap that CJ Stroud received below his own 10-yard line on 3rd and 16. Okay. On 3rd and 16. Watch what CJ Stroud does with this play. Scramble, right side, and 40-yard completion. Okay. And from here on out, it was the Houston Texans football game. Okay. So I think that's the most disappointing part about the Los Angeles Chargers in the last 5 years of Justin Herbert. Okay. First off, he's had 2 chances in the postseason. He's 0-2. Okay. It's a team game. It's not an individual game. I got it. All right. But the last time they were in the postseason, they blew a 27-point lead to the Jacksonville Jaguars. And Doug Peterson, who has since been fired, and Trevor Lawrence, who we have since seen a serious regression. And now, this time that they enter the postseason, so be it. It was only a 6-0 lead. But you had that going on. 2 minutes left in the half. You had a 6-0 lead. You blow that one, you lose, and your franchise quarterback's really not good for the game. So a lot of questions, not necessarily in Los Angeles from the standpoint of can we be a team that makes the postseason? Because clearly with Jim Harbaugh and whatever pieces they have around there, there's good enough talent to get into the postseason. But what is Justin Herbert going to be for you? Is this a guy that's going to win you playoff games? He's clearly talented enough to be a top 15 quarterback in the league. I'm not sitting here saying get rid of Justin Herbert. I'm just saying, and everyone loves to compare to a guy who's on the Hall of Fame ballot right now, Eli Manning, and I agree. You look at Eli Manning, like playoff winner, dude. And that's what everyone wants in their quarterback. I don't need, and I had Dan Marino, and look, for 7 years of my life that I cognitively can remember as a Dolphins fan. But it's fun when you have a all-time great. But it seems, never done it as a football fan, it seems like winning's way more fun though too. So give me the quarterback that when we get in, we win, or we have a chance, or we're competing, right? And I think that is unfortunately the knock right now on Herbert. Only 2 chances, I get it. And still, hopefully, a long career ahead of him. But hey, as we learned from Dan Marino, you never know what the next chance is going to be or if you're going to get it ever again. Think about how long Saquon Barkley's gone in his career. 7th year in the league, I think. 5th, 6th year, 7th year, something like that. He went 1 postseason with the Giants. Yeah, they won a game. Cool. Like now he has a legitimate chance to win the Super Bowl, and he's on a legitimately good team, you know? And it took him having to leave the team that drafted him, going to their rival. Like those aren't easy decisions. Yeah, the money's easy, but those aren't easy decisions, okay? And that's what he had to do to get to this point, all right? Speaking of Saquon and the Philadelphia Eagles, Saquon played really well, and so did the Eagles. And I find this very interesting, and I think, obviously, their game plan. Split the difference of 55 offensive opportunities to possess the football for the Philadelphia Eagles. 34 of them were run plays, and 21 of them were pass plays. Jalen Hurts only had to run/pass 27 total times in this game. They handed the ball to Saquon 25 times. He ran for 119 yards, averaged 4.8 a carry. So clearly that's what the Eagles want to do. They want to possess the ball, run the rock, and they want to feed Saquon Barkley. A.J. Brown had 1 reception for 10 yards. Devontae Smith, 4 receptions for 55 yards. Dallas Goedert had a TD, and Johan Dotson had a TD. Check this out from Dallas Goedert. Big man touchdown right there. And this is how the game started for the Philadelphia Eagles. Wild controversy here because I'm going to pause it. If you look at this angle right here, all right, can you see the football? I can't see the football. Okay. If you go on Twitter and you look at all the over top angles, it actually looks like Nixon, the Green Bay Packers return man, actually kind of has the football in his hands. A lot of controversy. They reviewed this play. A lot of controversy on whether or not there was belief that this football was recovered by the Green Bay Packers. But the problem is it's called an Eagles recovery on the field. Okay. So do I agree with the people that there is some speculation as to whether or not this football was actually recovered by the Green Bay Packers and not the Eagles? Yes. But the problem is, watch right here. Watch the dude in the white hat. Now, hold up. You can't see the football. You haven't even digressed the entire pile. Well, unfortunately, that goes against the Packers. And now the opportunity for the Packers to open the game with the football going right out the window. The Eagles score. They go up 10-0. 5 minutes in, 10-0. Packers did a great job of coming back. Unfortunately, their offense was not very good. Jordan Love, their $50 million quarterback, was not good. 3 interceptions, 212 yards. Just not what you're looking for a guy that held out to start the season. And I remember Rome Show on the road in Long Beach Island, New Jersey, stating, what are we doing here, Packers, for Jordan Love? Is this really the guy? And I don't know. You lose your last 3 games of the season. Your franchise quarterback looks not really good in the playoff game. And yeah, you won one last year. But at the end of the day, you paid him this year. So this was the year he really had to say, hey, I got you, franchise. I got the people that have my back, that believe in me. And listen, again, it's the same thing I said earlier with Justin Herbert. You're praying for a long career with these dudes. But at the end of the day, you just don't know. You don't know. The Packers have already been kind of hanging on by a thread here with LaFleur over the last 4 or 5 years, redoing this roster after the Aaron Rodgers era. And we've already always had questions about the talent on this roster. So not good from Jordan Love. I'm going to get the clip of that, by the way. For Baltimore, it's just the run game. Derrick Henry, 186 yards, 2 TDs. Lamar Jackson, 81 yards on the ground. He threw 2 TDs. The combo of Henry and Jackson combined for 267 rushing yards on this day. They also combined for 4 total touchdowns. Bottom line, run the rock if you're the Baltimore Ravens. That's exactly the same game plan that the Ravens went into this game with, was the same game plan that we talked about with the Eagles. You have one of the 2 best running backs in the league, feed him the football, and a quarterback that could do the same. Yes, I said it when I went through the games. Steelers, a lot of questions, especially at the quarterback position. Again, we have a lot of offseason to break down all of those things. We only have this moment to talk about the postseason. When it comes down to the Denver Broncos, it was just, they're not ready yet. Bo Nix, rookie quarterback. I don't think he played bad. Don't get me wrong. I think he had a solid game. Sean Payton, second year as the head coach of the Denver Broncos, had to get over the Russell Wilson stuff. Apparently, there's a lot of dead money on their cap. So, there wasn't a lot they could do to improve the roster. They're what people would quote unquote, and I don't really like this statement, but I think it helps describe stuff, like ahead of schedule. Like, I don't think they thought they were going to make the playoffs this year. So I think that's a big step for them. Buffalo just flexed. Buffalo showed who Buffalo is. Josh Allen there can always find a way, because the score of that game ended 31-7, but with 17 minutes left, Denver was only down by 6. Okay. But then the Buffalo Bills stepped on the gas, made plays when they needed to. The Broncos didn't, and therefore they get a large victory. And then last night, I think Washington-Tampa Bay was the best game of the weekend. By far, hands down. I loved it. I don't know why. It was back and forth. There was not an insane amount of mistakes. Like Baker Mayfield did make a huge mistake fumbling that football. It didn't result in a big turn of points, but it resulted in enough that could be the difference maker in that game. But that was a really fun football game. And of the 5 NFL games this weekend, that was the most fun by far. I said I was going to start with this at the beginning. That was the dyslexia in me. The whole idea here was to start with this and start with the National Football League and end with Ohio State. They defeated Texas over the weekend. We're not going to spend a lot of time on this because obviously it was on Friday, but it was a really good football game. Ohio State wins 28-14. A strip sack from Jack Sawyer was the difference maker in that game. So Ryan Day, after a lot of scrutiny to end the regular season with a loss to Michigan, comes back and leads Ohio State to the national championship game. They will take on Notre Dame. That game is January 20th. We will have plenty of time to dissect that. And then some other news real quick before we hit our commercial break, then top 5 plays of the weekend. Mike Vrabel has been hired as the head ball coach of the New England Patriots. Pretty easy to figure out what Robert Kraft did there. He honored Bill Belichick's wishes 3 or 4 years ago to put head coach in waiting in Gerard Mayo's contract, and then knew once he got rid of Bill Belichick, he could do whatever he wanted because he's the owner, and he gave Gerard Mayo 1 year because obviously Mike Vrabel, who maybe he really wanted, I have no clue, but he clearly wanted, was out of the league, gives Mayo 1 year. Vrabel starts interviewing with other teams. He says, nope, I want that guy over this guy. Fired. I could care less what I told the 2 of these guys 4 years ago. And now Mike Vrabel's the head ball coach in New England, and I would watch out. I think Tennessee made a mistake getting rid of him. And so as a fan of a team in this division, I'm not necessarily very excited for Mike Vrabel being hired by the Pats, but hey, good for Vrabel. I think he's an excellent coach. I hope you're having a good time today, and this is an excellent show. We come back with top 5 plays, and then we give you our picks for Minnesota, Los Angeles tonight in Arizona, the 6th and final game of Wildcard weekend. The Rome Show, 12ozsports.com. Back after this.
Need tickets to that next event? Well, at 12 Ounce Sports, we've got them with soccer anywhere in the world. Tickets to any venue, any sport. Want to go to NCAA or NFL football matches? We've got them.
Yeah.
Baseball at every level. Every Power 5 matchup is available. Don't forget, costumes and paint are optional. What's that? You want to go to Broadway? We have those too. Want to jam out? Every concert, every artist. That's right. At 12 Ounce Sports, we've got the tickets for less. 12ozsports.com/tickets. That's 12ouncesports.com/tickets.
Welcome to MyBookie. You're ready to create an account and start making money, and we're here to help. And remember, you can get a bonus of up to $1,000 on your first deposit. Now you're ready to bet. Just go to mybookie.ag, visit the sportsbook, click on your bet, and input the amount you want to risk or win in the bet slip. Yes, it's that easy. Just remember, at MyBookie, you play, you win, you get paid.
Yeah. The Rome Show, 12ouncesports.com, YouTube TV X, Roku TV. So many places. You missed any part of the show? You want to share the show with a friend? Any of those links, share it. Or get the podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. Just search The Rome Show. Fresh off my ski trip to Park City. Thought we could have a little bit of fun here with the people. Went some serious distance while we were in Park City. 4 straight days of snowboarding, because I am not a skier, although the terminology tends to be skiing, snowboarding, whatever. My vertical feet in total was 53,625. That was not on one run specifically. The highest vertical we went on a run was 9,300. Park City was on a strike, so not all their runs were open when we first got there. So it couldn't go as high on the mountain as we wanted to, plus a little lack of snow in some areas. But over the course of the weekend, I traveled 85 miles on my snowboard. That's pretty cool. And yeah, that was it, and they count the total vert is as you climb higher than the run before. So if my first run was at 4,000 feet and my next run's at 7,000 feet, I get plus 3,000 in my total vert for the entire weekend. So really good weekend, a lot of fun with the fam. We have some videos of that we'll show on another day when we don't have as much that we can do on the show. But here we go. Top 5 plays of the weekend. We are going to get started with your number
5.
And it's that CJ Stroud. Check this out. CJ Stroud makes a play for the Texans.
87 yards of offense. Oh, the ball is free. Scooped up by Stroud. Circles, throws, complete on a busted play. Hutchinson, just like they drew it up.
And like I said when we broke that game down, that was the turning point for the Houston Texans. And after that, the Houston Texans, they outscored the Los Angeles Chargers. I believe it was 32-6. Like, that's ridiculous. So good on Houston, good on CJ Stroud making a play when his team needed it. The number 4 play, oh yeah,
Numero 4.
it's the Eagles. 3, though, we told you it wasn't just football. Cutter Gauchier, the snipe, the biscuit, the goal.
Little redirect across the line. Goche goes wide. He scores. Oh, what a shot
by
Cutter Goche. High short
Watch
side.
this.
And the Ducks get the elusive second goal.
Cutter Gauchier also scored the overtime winner. Look at that angle. Oh,
short side, under the bar.
Snipey, the biscuit, Cutter Gauchier. Number 3.
There, Cutter Goche.
Play of the weekend. Your number 2 play. Oh, your number 2 play is a really good one. I didn't realize the Halloween music got playing in the background. That's hilarious. Your number 2 play comes from our guy, Josh Allen. Yeah, we saw it on the replay, but we're going to see it again. 18-0 run right there for Buffalo to close it out. That's what good football teams do, and they are the number
2.
Ryan Leach. Play of the week, but, it's always fun when you get to be number 1.
Number 1.
Kudos Ryan Day, who I've also crushed on this show, but is proving why he's a great coach, and that is the number 1.
Number 1.
Uno. Play of the week, and that rolls us right into our final segment, which is my favorite segment.
Ba 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 na na ba 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 na 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 na.
So I just need to let everybody know, okay? Because it was what started to look like a not great weekend from the Bananas side, but it really did turn around, okay? I chose the Chargers to win by 3. That clearly didn't happen. But I had Baltimore minus 9.5. I had Buffalo minus 8, and I had Philly minus the 4.5. So I nailed all 3 of those. And then I did choose Washington at the plus 3. So I pushed on the Washington game So 3-1 for the National Football League, or 3-1-1, but I think the push is just a push. So we're going 3-1. But if you want to remember correctly, because I do, I chose in the college football playoff, I chose Ohio State versus Texas to stay under the 54.5. It did stay under the 54.5, so that fires me up. I had Ohio State at the -6, which is yes, but I did have Jeremiah Smith having a way better day. He was limited and hurt. So see ya on that one. So it was 2-1 in that game. So it was really good bananas for me. So tonight in the National Football League, here we go. We are going to go with, I'm taking the Vikings at the -2.5. The Rams lose home field advantage. Not that they really had home field advantage to begin with, but it's a wild situation going on. And Minnesota is a really good football team. Sam Darnold having the best year of his career, hands down, bar none. Matthew Stafford's already won a Super Bowl. Elite. This team has already won a Super Bowl. I do believe, no doubt in my mind, the Rams could go out and win this game by 15, randomly just destroy the Vikings, or just win in general. But I just have this feeling that the Vikings are looking for that revenge against Detroit, and we're going to get that game next week, which we just saw last week. So I'm going to take the Vikings here at the -2.5. The over-under in this game is 47.5. I'm going to take the over in that. I think that we're going to see a lot of offense, especially in the second half. I'm going to give Sam Darnold 2+ TDs, and I'm going to give Justin Jefferson over 80+ yards. Vikings heavy in my bananas this week. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is The Rome Show. 12OZsports.com, YouTube, X, Roku TV, podcast, wherever you get your podcast. Just search The Rome Show. Thank you for tuning in. We're here every day, 7 a.m. We'll be back tomorrow. Andrew Romanella, thank you for listening. Have an electric day. And Leah, I'll see you tomorrow. Peace!
Thank you for listening.